Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? The Jersey Boyz Podcast back on the air right now on the Chop Sports Media YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcast. Dave Sturchio alongside nationally known comedian Bret Ernst, his brother, the Grinch, Keith Ernst, America's fan, that is. And, of course, today we get the honor and the privilege to bring in one of the GOATs of the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Jeffcoat. Jim, how are we, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
I mean, better now that we have the official like I said, you're part of Bret Ernst's stand-up act because your name is.
I know. I heard.
For real. I told you I had to give him a shout out. Every once in a while, I'll throw my favorite Cowboys in there and the Jim Jeffcoat line when I called my dad. Because look, the story of how I became a Cowboys fan was, you know, in the 70s growing up, there was like 5 teams on TV, and Dallas was always one of them. And my father was always rooting for them. Rooting for the Cowboys. So, I'd call him up and things fell apart and it was like our thing. I would study the Cowboys because, I figured it's his team. It's my team. And I'd call him up. I'd be like, yo, we just drafted Jim Jeffcoat. He's like, that's great. Put your mother on. Right. But, I would call him, but I called him when we lost to the Niners that one time, even though in the timeline, that was before you got there.
Yeah, it was the year before.
It was the year before you got there. But in the art, it doesn't matter. I just had to find a place to shout you out. But I called him crying, and he asked me, he goes, "Why do you keep telling me about the Cowboys?" And I thought it was his team, but he used to gamble, so he had money on Dallas, and he was like, let's go. I didn't know that. As a kid, I just thought that was his team, and I'd put so much into it. I just stuck with Dallas, and that's why I'm
there. It is. So
that's why my brother's a fan because I was a fan, and I introduced him to football. And anyways, like I said before we started, you are one of me and my brother's favorite players, man.
Well, thank you.
Wait, Sturch, tell him what I put as my name when I came in.
You are now his little name here is Ring of Honor, please.
Please, buddy.
So
please.
Listen, I mean, we can get into that. Obviously, I mean, there's so many reasons as to why that would be a thing, right? To put Mr. Jeffcoat in there.
Eventually, it'll happen.
Yeah, of course.
Probably, won't remember it or anything, but I think
I read online that Jerry kind of has a thing, not against, but that the teams before him, he just doesn't really.
Well, it's interesting. He told my son that someday I would be in the Ring of Honor because my son is, my oldest son is an avid Cowboy fan.
Is that Jackson?
No, Jaron. I have 2 sons.
I was going to say, because I wanted Jackson on the Cowboys, but go ahead.
My oldest son, Jaron. Jackson, he's so-so because they didn't draft him, so.
Shut up.
Whatever.
Personal vendetta, I get it.
He's got a vendetta against him, so.
So I obviously we are the Jersey Boyz Podcast, and a lot of times we get real excited when we find out that players are from New Jersey. I mean, we've had Jesse Holley on this show 3-4 times. Great dude. And I come to find out, I meet one of your friends throughout this process, and he told me I'm best friends with Jim Jeffcoat. I said, whoa.
Ted Phil.
Ted Phil. I was like,
Ted was the center for our high school football team, and he was a baseball player. So.
Yeah, and he tells me this, and he like brushes over it. Like we're talking. He's like, yeah, my best friend's Jim. I was like, whoa. And I was like, Jim Jeffcoat.
Yeah,
like,
we've been friends for quite a long time.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And what's funny? He came to my studio in Mattawan, right? He came there and he brought in, I believe it was in a case, a signed football by you, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh man, you didn't have to bring that. Like, I'm thinking like he's giving it to me as a gift, and he's like, no, I'm just showing you that I have it. And I was like, oh, what the hell? So anyway, it's an honor to have you on.
Ted is a great guy.
Where'd you play your high school football in Jersey?
Mattawan High School. I grew up on the Jersey Shore. I grew up in Cliffwood, New Jersey, and it's a regional school. There were 5 towns that went to the same high school.
Okay. Yeah, we're from Passaic, North Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so who'd you grow up supporting? What was your team growing up?
Well, it was the Giants.
Oh,
and the reason was I'm only 35 minutes away from the Meadowlands.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It was always my team until I worked for Bill Parcells. Can't stand him now.
Really?
That's great. I mean, that's music to all of our ears. So obviously, you get drafted by the Cowboys in 1983. Your first start, we were talking about it. We asked Rain Man, aka Keith Ernst, if he can guess it, and he nailed it right before the show.
I didn't nail it. See, now let me explain my first choice. I remember it was a Monday night game, but the next year was the Redskin Monday night.
Yes.
That the 6 interception one, whatever. And you know what? I remember that year. Didn't you said against the Redskins we beat them at like
5? Yeah, I had 5 sacks in one game. It was actually in Washington.
Yes, that was the second game that year.
The thing was my parents were sitting in the front row back in the old RFK. They let the visiting teams fans sit up close, which was unusual, but it was fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wait. He's
got the record, bro. He's tied. Are you tied with Bob Lilly, or is it the?
I'm tied with Bob Lilly, and I think Jeff Pugh was the other one.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what game was that?
13-7 against Washington. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Was that the game? Was that the game I became officially a fan?
No,
I think so.
That was the Monday night game when you were born, opening game. He's talking.
Yeah, you were born on opening.
All right, yeah. So Jim, long story boring. It was the Redskins Monday Night Football game, and my mom's water broke, and my dad said, "You're gonna have to wait till halftime."
Oh no.
So listen, it's from day one, and I always tell my dad, I'm like, I really appreciate you making me a Cowboys fan, and nowadays he's like, hey, you might want to stop telling people that I did this to you because now it's been so long. So I'm like, well, listen, my childhood, I was rocking starter jackets and Super Bowl t-shirts. This is great, But
what's interesting is I started playing football as a freshman in high school, and this is a great story. My dad was a baseball player. He was a very talented baseball player. My mom was the football fan. And what she did is when she came to my first practice, I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know how to put a jock on. To be honest with you. And I walked in there, and there was this little kid that played Pop Warner. I had a growth spurt. I went from 5'6" to 6'2". And so, I had all the knees aching and everything. And this kid was killing me. And all I could see is my mom up there. My dad was reading the paper and making like he didn't see it. My mom, you could see the steam coming off her head. And so when I got home, she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What, Mom? Learn how to play football." She said, "That's not football." She said, I have 4 brothers. She said, "My boys are tough." She said, she put a big burlap sack back in the back, and it was full of potatoes. And she said, "You hit it." And she showed me, "This is how you hit it. And you hit it until I get tired." It was about 11 o'clock. I think she got tired and let me come in the house.
She's in a 3-point stance.
Oh, my goodness. No, I was standing up back then. I was an outside linebacker. But
all right.
Geez,
so Jim, did you go both ways in high school?
Yes.
What was the other position on offense?
Offensive tackle and defensive end, outside linebacker.
Do you think you could have played offensive tackle?
No, I didn't want to play offensive tackle.
Well, could you have if you were like talented?
There was one school, Michigan State, that recruited me as an offensive tackle, and that's why I didn't go to Michigan State. Arizona State.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Actually, Arizona State, Frank Cush, moved me to tight end. And after the first practice, I got in 6 fights. He said, "You're going to be a defensive end. And you'll never be anything else." Danny White. Danny White went there, didn't he? Yes, Danny White went there. Bob Brunick, Darren Woodson, Darryl Clack. There were quite a few. And actually, in my year, I was drafted the 3rd round pick. Brian Caldwell was also, he was a defensive lineman. He was from Arizona State.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was going to ask you in the recruiting process. So Michigan State wanted you as an offensive tackle. I know you went to Arizona State, but what other schools were
University of Florida, USC, and Michigan. We had 2 guys that went to Michigan, but Michigan was too cold. And then also Boston College. Michigan was freezing. When I went to Arizona State, there was a blizzard, the great blizzard of 79. And there was a blizzard in Jersey. And it was 80 degrees. I was swimming. These girls were walking around in bikinis. I said, shoot, I'm coming to Arizona State. Are you out of your mind?
That's so funny. Yeah, you have no idea how mystified I was in I believe it was 92 when all of a sudden we had a game on Thanksgiving and it was snowing in Dallas. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, it snowed right now in Dallas.
No, I know. Well, it snowed across the country. I mean, this is insane how it's all
true, but it was more ice actually than snow.
Mm.
That's a great story in itself. If you remember, Leon Lett, when he went for that, they blocked the field goal and he went to, and Jimmy was yelling. He said, Jeffcoat, what are you doing? And I'm standing next to Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, I'm standing right next to you. So he looks at me and said, who's that? He said, Leon. I said, that's Leon. And he said, Leon, what are you doing?
So he literally thought you were the one that, oh, man.
I would never do that. I would never do that.
Is that when you were like, you know what? I'm going to Buffalo. I'll see you later. You can't do that.
There was one thing I can always say about Jimmy Johnson. I was his guy. And he would always say, as long as I'm here, you're going to be here. He said, don't ever listen to anybody else. He said, you're my God. And it was true. Great. Me and we had another guy who he liked Jersey guys for whatever reason. Tony Tolbert is from Englewood, New Jersey.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he's from Englewood. And Tony and me, we'd do these suicide drills, punt drills, and we'd run one. And he'd tell me and Tony, he said, you're done. He said, I said, what, coach? We just started. He said, nah. He said, that's not what we pay you for. He said, y'all go over there and don't run down there anymore. And he would come in the room and tell me, he said, you know, I was a D-line coach, and I love D-line. He said, I got to mess with the other guys, but I love my D-lineman. And he did.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when before we got on, you were telling us when you got drafted that so you obviously you were drafted by Tom Landry.
Yes.
What was it like playing for him? And then you said they just threw you into the flex?
Yeah. What happened is that Harvey Martin, my rookie year, he was the starter, and then he abruptly retired. So what happened was, and you probably couldn't do the things that we did then because you had 6 preseason games.
Mm.
So to accelerate my learning of the flex, I played every single play my second year of the preseason. Didn't miss a play during the season. I had 11 and a half sacks. But to be honest with you, I had Randy White next to me. And Randy White, we'd go in there and watch film, and he's the only guy that was 8mm film. And those 8 millimeters, click, 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 could put you to sleep. Randy didn't even blink. He didn't even blink. And I'd be watching, and he'd tell me all the things that were going on. Ed Jones, obviously, Too Tall was another one. They taught me how to play the game as fast as possible.
I mean, you can't ask for 2 or 3 better guys to learn the position. I mean, that's crazy.
Was Randy as mean as they said he was?
Yes, he was meaner.
Yeah. Really?
Meaner.
He was meaner. I've seen him do this. One guy, we were playing the St. Louis Cardinals, and his name was Terry Seave. And Randy used to have a dip in his mouth playing that game. And he said, hey, Randy, I bitched 500 pounds last week. And Randy looked at him, and he said, and he spit on his shoe. He said, I don't care. I'm still going to kick your butt. And then we played the Washington Redskins, and he hated Mark Mays. He despised Mark Mays. So Mark was always talking. So Randy said, listen, Mark. He said, I don't even want to play with you. I want to take you out in the tunnel, and I'm going to beat you up. And he said, I promise I won't tell anybody.
Jesus.
Yeah, I saw Mark Mays in an interview talk about him, saying that they just did not get along, but he said God, he respected him.
Well, see, Randy was from, he grew up in Wilmington, Delaware. His father was a butcher, but he's really from the hills of Pittsburgh.
Mm.
Mark is from Pittsburgh, too. So it was something, it was a personal thing. Maybe when they were kids, they had a fight. I don't know.
So compare and contrast as far as like your first, obviously your first couple of years, the Dallas Cowboys are not as prominent as you know, so you have to kind of like segue into how hard were What?
You might have to take a back seat to this one, Sturch, just because of your age.
First of all, I'm asking about the fact that he's with Tom Landry.
Well,
the
wait,
team isn't any good.
But I think your rookie year, right? You played the Redskins in the NFC Championship game.
No, it was we didn't make it to there. We played the Rams in the playoffs and lost.
Right, was that the 20-0 one?
Yes.
Yeah. But the 2 years prior, that team.
Yeah, before me, what happened is you had a transition. Obviously, they were starting Danny White, and some of the players were starting to get older. They weren't the same as they were. I came in, and between me and Michael Irvin, there wasn't a first rounder who was a consistent starter. And before me, between me and Tony Dorsett, there wasn't a consistent starter for the Cowboys. And your first rounders, when you lose on your first rounders, that's tough. And that's what happened is you had guys in, but they couldn't. They were talented, but the problem with Dallas is it's like being a rock star. It's like a band. And when you go places, people just swarm on you. And some guys don't know how to put that away and play football. And my father was ex-military, and he was tough. And he said, he knew that you're going to have, obviously, being a celebrity, you're going to have those things. I mean, shoot, they had to have security guards at our rooms because girls would try to get up in there and stuff and everything when we were on the road. And the lobbies were crowded. We had to sneak in the back to get in.
So Tom Landry, obviously, he's a well-mannered, spoken man, but we all know the coaching style. Could compare and contrast as far as playing for Landry and then playing for a guy like Jimmy Johnson, who was just a high motor and just,
it was interesting. Coach Landry designed the flex defense. He designed the offense, and he would critique every single position on Monday on offense and defense. It took 5 to 6 hours for him to critique every position. Nobody else spoke but Coach Landry, and you got nervous. So one time when I messed up on a play, and I said, he said, son, he said, if you play like that, you're going to be up in the nickel seats. So I sheepishly raised my hand and said, no disrespect, Coach Landry. I said, there is no more nickel seats. And everybody started rolling out laughing. And he got a smile on his face, and he said, well, you're going to be somewhere, but it won't be here. But Coach Landry was a genius. He sit up in that tower, and we used to do these grass drills up and down, and he would see anybody he was cheating. It was the most amazing thing. I'm saying, how can you see this? You can't see this. He'd sit up in that tower, and he'd see everything. And that was old school. He didn't wear, obviously headphones or anything. He just called the game what he saw. And I mean, it was incredible. Jimmy was different. Jimmy was high energy, like you said, but he always said, I have my guys. He said, you want to be one of my guys because it's like heaven. But he said, if you're not one of my guys, he said, I'm just looking for a reason to cut you. And that was true too. And I mean, when we won our first Super Bowl, it was 2 minutes left in the game. And Jimmy comes up to me and he says, I need you to do me a favor. I'm like, Coach, it's 2 minutes. We're on offense. They're going to just kneel. I thought I was going to be a fullback. I was going to run me a touchdown. We've been through all this BS together. He said, we're going to walk in. There's a picture of us arm in arm walking out to the middle of the field because he said, we've been through all this because we started in 89 and we built that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was just you and Bill Bates, right, from the Landry defense?
There was defense. It was me, and we looked it up. Tony Tober with the only D-line, Bill Bates, and that was it.
So Tony Tober was on the Landry? What's that?
Yeah, Tony Tober got drafted in 89.
Oh, okay.
And he's a great story, too, because he was a guy that was from Inglewood and went to UTEP.
But the Landry's last year was 88, 89, right?
No, his last year was 88. That he drafted Michael Irvin.
Right, but Tony Tolbert got drafted 89.
Yes.
All right, so he wasn't part of Landry's team then?
No.
Oh, so but this
he was Jimmy's.
So just
Jimmy
you and
first,
Bates were on Landry's team. You
Oh
thought
no,
it was
on defense it was just me and obviously Bill.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I thought. Okay,
Yes,
that's all.
From
Right.
88.
Offense, it was most of the offensive line, right? Because besides Stepnowski, I know 2-A.
Well, see, no,
they were Landry guys, weren't
on Coach Landry's team who came over with Mark 2-A, and then it was Nate Newton and Kevin Gogan. They all came over. Yeah. And they came over. When Coach Landry got here, he drafted Eric Williams. He drafted Larry Allen, traded for he drafted Mark Stepnowski.
Yeah,
he also traded for John Giesick.
Giesick, yeah.
Wow.
So, go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, what is your who's the dirtiest player you think you've ever played against?
Dirtiest player I ever played against. It was Jeff Criswell from the Jets.
Oh, okay.
But I got him though because they had a tight end, and that's when the old coach for Cincinnati, God, what's his name?
Sam Weish?
No, the one that was the head coach for the Jets.
Oh,
or not?
Wow, I'm drawing a blank.
Jeff Coslet or some. What was his name?
Bruce Coslet.
Yeah,
What happened
there
was during the game, what they were doing, where they were chop blocking the defensive ends to stop them from rushing. And what happened was, the tight end came down to chop block me. So I told him I told him honest truth, if he chop block me, I'm a Jersey guy. I said, I'm going to break your neck. He said, but the coach told me I had to. I said, well, I'm going to break your neck. So he would tell me every time, I got to come down. And Criswell was talking so much. And I said, listen, I'm going to break your back. He said, you're not going to break my back. About the third quarter, he was walking with his back, holding his back because I broke his back.
Which is crazy because it's an unfamiliar opponent. Like the Jets, you would think
but that's not the best part of it. So we're walking in at halftime. And I told Coslet, I said, hey, you guys are teaching them this. He said, I'm not going to come after them. I'm coming after you. So Coslet goes to Jimmy. He said, you going to let your player talk to me like that? And Jimmy looked at him straight face. He said, he just told you, if you chop block him again, he's coming after you. And he said, I'm going to be right there with him.
Man.
That was typical Jimmy.
Jimmy's the man.
Well, my question was, because again, as a child of memory, Keith, you probably know, I remember the one season, we were at that Sunday night game in October when Ed Jones tipped it and you caught it and ran for a touchdown.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You did
that was the second time that happened.
Yeah. The second time?
No, that was the second time. Yeah.
Yeah. The first one I ran for 60-something yards.
Yeah.
The second one was 29. I didn't have to run that far.
Well, were they both against the Giants or just one against the Giants?
Two against the Giants.
They were two, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now did you guys practice that?
Okay.
Did you practice that, Jim? Would you all right, here's the deal. You knew Ed was coming first. Did you ever hang back and you kind of knew that was going to happen?
He's 6'9".
Just put your paw up.
You just I mean, this
That's what he was known for. He was known for tipping balls.
Yeah. Absolutely. But they were both so, oh man, that was something.
Yeah.
Dude, we were going nuts.
Two of the best games I've seen.
Ed was something with that. This is how Ed was. One day we were out in Thousand Oaks where we practiced in preseason camp, and he was late for practice, and it was field goal rush. So they're calling, where's Too Tall? Where's Too Tall? He comes running out, gets in his position, blocks the field goal, stuff like that. This dude was you don't realize how good to be 6'9" and to play in the NFL and do the things that he did.
Oh, yeah, man.
Do you think because the other guy on that D line was John Dutton, right?
Yeah, Big John.
And
Ed was the number 1 pick. John was the number 2 pick. John was in Baltimore, and he had a contract dispute with Baltimore, and they traded him to the Cowboys. He was 6'8" from Nebraska.
Yeah, because he was a big dude, man.
Yeah.
Insane.
All of us, Randy was the shortest, and I'm 6'5". He might have been 6'4.5".
Just under you.
Yes.
They don't make them like they used to, that's for sure.
But I'll tell you what, when we, to be honest with you, when we walked off the thing, you saw that, But with the Cowboys, with Charles Haley, Tolbert, that group, Russell Maryland, Leon Lett, when they walked off the bus, you're like, oh, shoot, we got problems today.
So the way you guys played back then compared to today, I was watching something on the NFL Network where it was Michael Strahan, Jason Taylor. I think Randy White was on the panel, Bruce Smith. But you guys really never left the field. They didn't rotate you down.
No, they didn't rotate it.
Down,
but it was interesting. You're right. You're exactly right, Brett. Is they didn't rotate us then, but we didn't play as many plays as when we got to the second with the Charles Haley's and the Tony Tolberts. And that was Jimmy's genius because he was the D-line. He never wanted us to be tired. He always wanted us to be fresh. So he rotated us, and you only played 30 to 40 plays as opposed to when I played with Coach Landry, we played 67 or whatever it plays. I mean, that's how it was.
You guys never left the field.
No, we never did. And then to the advantage of that is that you always are fresh while those offensive linemen would start to wear down, and we take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you got if you're critiquing the Dallas Cowboys defensive line, you're like, well, all right, we're 9-10 deep. We're all right. You know what I mean? Because now you got guys that can come in all the time.
That's to a certain extent. But here's the thing is that, and I coached for a long time too, is that you got to have a continuity. You got to have a scheme.
Right.
And the D-line has to all be playing. The linebackers have to be connected. Obviously, the safeties, the corners, they're coverage guys most of the time. But that front has to disrupt, but they also got to understand assignments and lane responsibilities. And
if you were to assess our defense this year, because we can't put our finger on it, what the hell was going on, man? What's wrong with it?
And they blamed the defensive coordinator, but there were other issues. And I looked at it, and I'm going to be honest with you. What happened is you had three groups playing not together. They were playing things to try to survive. When you got linebackers that they always say the linebackers in the wrong position, well, the defensive line has to make them right, and they have to make the defensive line because obviously the offensive linemen get paid, and you can't do that. And then with the safeties, they got to see it. What we did every Thursday after practice without coaches would go in there and we tell the linebackers and the safeties and the corners, this is what we see and this is what we're going to do. So they knew on certain plays. And a lot of teams thought we were cheating. What we were doing was we understood their responsibilities because they told us. And we know when there was a mistake. When we're in a bad or they're in a bad position, we could compensate for it. You have to play as a team, especially defense. The good defenses play to help each other out. They don't sit there and point fingers. They play together.
It seemed to be this year that there was a lot of lack of communication on the field. Like there was just,
that was the problem is the communication between the three
There's
levels.
no question about it. If you go back and look at the whole season, you'll see it because a lot of players were out of position. We never worried about our corners because we wanted them to cover. But those safeties, they better be in the right gap, the linebackers. And if we're not, then we correct each other. We made it right. And that's it. But we knew before we win the game how people were going to attack us. And if they did something different, we go to the sideline, correct it, and go on.
So how much does that fall on the coach? I mean, Eberflus caught a lot of
it
stuff.
It does, but I think it falls more on the position coaches.
Mm.
I think it falls more on he caught a lot of the flack because he's the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But the position coaches have to understand what he wants and how he wants it. Because, especially with D-line coaches, what does D-line coaches or D-linemen want to do? They want to run upfield and rush quarterbacks. But if you can't stop the run, you can't rush the quarterback because you'll never get in that position. So you have to make sure they understand why we're doing this. To rush the quarterback is a reward. To get in a position, you got to stop the run. And teams are going back to it, old school now. They're going back to, in the East, the NFC East is going to be more run when you got Harbaugh coming there and guys like that. Philly's got, they got Saquon Barkley. They're going to be able to run. And obviously, Dan Quinn made a change because he knows he's going to have to run the ball. And you see the teams. Look at what's happening in Seattle. and they talk about Darnold. But what are they doing? They can run the ball effectively.
Kenneth Walker's a monster this year.
That's right. That's right. And when you can do that, the most frustrating thing for a defense is if you can't stop the run.
So, but how does something like that happen? Like, I understand what you're saying, but doesn't I mean, how involved are the Joneses? Are they that involved?
No. What happened, Keith, is you try to put something together, but you got to put the right things in. Your defensive line coach can't be on his own thing. Same with your linebackers, same with your secondary, because you usually have a safety and a corner coach. They have to understand what we're trying to accomplish. You go there, hey, we got to do this. We got to do it this way. And that's the coordinator's responsibility, yes. But it's not all on him, because I saw some things that wasn't good football, and guys who understand football said, what are they doing? There's no coordination in it.
We noticed that too. Like we both noticed, me and my brother brought it up with the containment, that their outside containment was just
That's
gone.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you rush down the middle of people? Set edges, squeeze the pocket on them. When you got a mobile quarterback, we played Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
He was there, and we kill him because we understood lane integrity, especially rushing the quarterback. Inside, you got a lane inside. Outside, you should have lane integrity. Make that guy, and then, if you play in a zone, it's harder to run on a zone than it is a man, because a man, they might have their backs turned to the quarterback, but a zone, everybody can see it.
Yeah. So
that's what Eaglefields was trying to do.
So I know I don't try to pay too much attention to what other players say sometimes, because I know but was there any validity to what D-Law said when he left Dallas? There was. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He was right. And they have talent, but you have to train that talent to do the things. And the one thing that does, like I said, being a coach for a long time, is you got to get the understanding. Hey, this is the way it's got to be done. I mean, if it's not done, we got to find somebody else who can do it. And that's harsh, but that's the reality of it. I mean, the one thing I remember is when Jimmy Johnson came in, he called me in his office, and we've always had a good relationship. And he said, we just brought Charles Haley in, and we're going to start him. And I had started for 10 years in the NFL. And he said, but he always had that but. He said, I'm going to make you more valuable. And I'm like, what are you talking about, coach? He said, I'm going to make you the Dennis Rodman of the NFL. And he said, you're going to rush quarterbacks. And I'm thinking, well, I could get banged up every play, playing the run. Well, I could just rush quarterback and get all the glory.
Yeah.
So and I said, Coach, we can work with this. And I said, what if I said, no, I want to go? He said, then I would have cut you.
Well, didn't you lead us in sacks at 10.5 or something that season? Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. But
amazing, dude.
You have to understand, and the thing you have to do, if you watch DeMarcus Lawrence this year, it was different roles for him. He wasn't playing as much as he had been in Dallas and things of that nature. He was playing just like I did at the end of my career. And I played 15 years, as we all know. But that's the thing you look at. And D-Law you have to understand, you have to give some sacrifices to be successful. And to win, you're going to have to because everybody gets a part of the win, not just one person.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it.
It's something I always said about DeMarcus Lawrence is that, it might not always show up on the stat sheet, but that dude was impressive against the run. And you sat there and you watched him and, his first interview in Seattle, you're like, I'll never win over there in Dallas. And I'm like, come on, man, you didn't have to say all that. And then the first year in Seattle, he's going to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, oof.
It's sad. And everybody's blaming on the Joneses. But I think, first of all, Schottenheimer is on the right path. I think he's doing the right things. But he understood that everybody was blaming one guy. It's never one guy. It's a group. And why is the group not? And that's his responsibility. Because you got to be able to get into those guys' head, because, these guys are making millions and millions of dollars, But the thing I always tell them when I talk to them is that, look, I'm going to be 65 this year, and I'm still living off Super Bowls because you guys can't win one. You got to do it as a team. The guys that I hung out with when I played are still some of my best friends. I meet with them once a month, and we talk about what's going on in life because we did something that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do. And that's why I said that's what you're looking at. You can be up here like me, still doing autograph sessions at there if you do the right thing. It's not always about getting that last penny. It's always think about championship.
We talk about that a lot on the podcast, how football is the ultimate team sport. There's no other sport like it where, basketball, one guy's playing offense and defense. He could change a game. Where football, you got to have at least 9 guys getting their job done in order for a play to work. Which brought me to my next question for you: the flex versus Jimmy Johnson's style of defense. What I remember about the flex, and you, if I'm wrong, it was a lot of risk. There was a lot of stump packages coming out of there, a lot of blitzing, but that was also leaving you could be vulnerable in other ways. Where Jimmy's defense looked more.
No, what it was the flex was truly Coach Landry had brought it from the New York Giants. He was the defensive coordinator, and Vincent Barty was the offensive coordinator at the New York Giants.
What a staff, by the way.
Yeah, it was an incredible staff. But what happened is the flex was a read defense. I play in a frog stance off the ball, and I key the guard. You know who ran us out of the flex? Was the Washington Redskins when they went to a one-back set with John Higgins. Yes. And the reason they did is because for us to read our reads properly, we had to be able to read the guard and the fullback. Well, if you don't have a fullback, you can't read them. And that would mess us up because we had, just like you said, we had movements that we did. Jimmy was the controller on the scrimmage. He called it a power step. And then once you recognize what's going on, go play football. He said, we'll cover each other. And that was his thing. And it was smart because it was more, and that's about football. You have to adjust to how offenses are attacking you. And that's what Jimmy did. The flex was great, but when I played in the NFL, I was about 265 pounds. I started playing with the Hogs against the Hogs were all over 300. So I take my flex step and come back. Joe Jacoby's coming down on me. So he has an advantage there. But when we went to Jimmy's defense, we went to edges. Now we had the advantage because of the speed of it.
What was it like bringing down John Riggins? I heard he was a load to bring down, huh?
He was tough. You'd hit him as hard as you could. But he always got up. I always had a lot of respect for him because he got hit.
So, all right. So one-on-one, you're doing a drill, old football drill. You got a running back and you got to hit him, right? You're doing the hamburger drill. Who would you rather go against, John Riggins or Earl Campbell?
Well, Earl Campbell, I played against him at the end of my career. And we met in a hole when he was playing for New Orleans. And I hit him as hard as I could. And we were stuck in the hole. And all of a sudden I started leaning. And I said, I'm not going to let this happen. But it did. He fell out. And he gets up and he says, "Skull, brother."
That's great.
That's fantastic.
So wait, I got a question. I know this is kind of off topic a little bit. Because I know, today, like how all the kids and everyone, they have like their they got like they're not even iPods anymore, but iPhones with, music, listening to this. They can listen to whatever they want, right? What used to get you amped? Like, what music did you listen to get you going?
Oh, shoot, I'm Jersey. Shoot, I listen to all the New York rappers and stuff.
Kool Moe Dee and all that?
Yeah, Kool Moe Dee, LL Cool J. Yeah.
Hey, you know what I found out passed away? I found out that I didn't notice, bro. The UTFO Kango Kid passed away. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
last
that's
year,
why I
yeah.
always listen to Beastie Boys and stuff like that.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. That's awesome.
And then Jimmy Johnson became the coach and said, "Cut that music out."
No.
No, he's in there.
He loved it.
Really?
Oh yeah, he loved it. He loved the music now. He said, "Yeah, this is my kind of music." He was an old country dude from Port Arthur, Texas, but he loved it. But he had been in Miami too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, him and Irv are listening to 2 Live Crew and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Getting amped up.
I didn't listen to 2 Live Crew
because you're in sports in general, you have those guys that started with the old style, because we're kind of in that new style of football. But you hear a lot of older heads talk about the game today versus when they played. What do you think the biggest difference is?
Well, the first of all is the protection of the quarterback. You hear old quarterbacks talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, shoot, we're going to try to get him out of the game. That's to be honest with you. We're going to hit him now. And that's your job is to protect him. And then how they taking away the physicality of the game. And that's what I think. And that's the sad thing. When you watch a game now, it's not as physical, but it's not just the NFL. It's happening in college. And I understand why. But there's also a sad because it's not the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same game. And you can't train it the same.
We find ourselves asking the same question a lot with quarterback sacks when they throw those unnecessary roughness penalties. They're like, okay, well, what do you want them to do? Like, you can't go high, you can't go low. You can't put your body weight on them. Like, what exactly?
I don't know if you could play this, because the guys I played with and played, I mean, this was just part of it. I mean,
and this is why I think quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, guys like that, they can play well into their 40s because they know they're protected. And like you see guys like Mahomes, like that guy's going to play another 20 years.
You got to go the other way too, Sturch. Guys like Atwater, guys like Lott, guys like Jack Tatum, those assassins in the back like that. They may not even be able to play today. With
Tatum's Passaic too, right?
Say what?
Tatum's from Passaic.
Yeah, Tatum.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Jack. Yeah.
Man,
the game, the Chuck Cecils, those guys.
Oh yeah. But you're exactly right. And it's sad. I understand why, and it makes sense. But you lost a part of the game that you'll never get back.
Now it's all. I mean, look, I'm 40, so I'm still in that youngish generation. But like, now a lot of these people are talking about like their fantasy stats and this, that, and the third. Like the old school, just knocking people's heads off.
I look at my fantasy stats, so I know. Yeah.
But you know what it is too? It's like with rivalries too. It's like, and I always bring this up because watching in the '80s, that's what I loved is that. You kind of knew who was getting. Go ahead. You know what I'm going to say.
No, that's the point. That is very true. But it's even in college with all this NIL stuff.
Yes, exactly.
You lose the rivalries, and that was the beauty. Like you said, you were Cowboys fans. Well, I grew up a Giants fan, and we never won against the Cowboys. But
something never changed.
But it's still you hated them. I'll tell you a story. When I was in high school, I despised the Cowboys.
Okay.
When I was, and then. My high school coach, he was my defensive coordinator in Britain. He said, someday you're going to be a Dallas Cowboy. I said, man, if I'm a Dallas Cowboy, I'm going to hang myself. So the week before the draft, Gil Brandt called me. And he said that I picked you in a mock draft. Well, what happened first was back then, this is before you guys, they didn't have cell phones. So I hung up on him. I didn't know who it was. He called me back and said, "Don't hang up." And he said, "I really am Gil Brandt. I'm going to pick you next week." Well, the week of the draft, Al Davis calls me, and he says, "Al Davis says," and he says, "This is Jeffcoat, right?" I said, "Yeah, Mr. Davis, this is Jim Jeffcoat." He said, "I'm from Brooklyn."
That's how he said it?
Yeah, that's what he said. Brooklyn. He said, "I'm going to take you in the first round."
Wow.
Cowboys had the pick before.
I was going to say you went 23rd overall, so they had the 24th. Oh, wow.
So my coach, Butch Burton, God rest his soul, called me and he said, "Hey, how long a rope do I need to hang?"
That's awesome. Isn't it crazy though how what a spectacle the draft is today?
It is amazing,
right?
It wasn't like that. And
no.
We were in the class of 83, and that was a heck of a class.
You know, I saw an old video with Howard Cosell where I think it was the first time ESPN ever like broadcasted the draft, and they went to Howard Cosell. He's like, "This will never work." He's like, nobody cares about this kind of stuff. You guys are wasting your time. Now look at it today, though.
Now it's 3 days, prime time.
Crowds
of 100,000 people going to Green Bay as if there's anything to do there.
Like, I mean, they eat it up.
Yeah, man. It's
so
insane.
honestly, Jeff, I got to get a little serious with you. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking like you were one of my favorite Dallas Cowboys growing up, and you did so much good for our team, and we appreciate you so much. But there's one thing you did that I do have a problem with.
No, she's gonna leave now.
No, I think Brett knows where I'm going. I don't want to be home, Chris.
Oh yeah.
What are y'all thinking, bro? Come on, man.
Shoot, they paid me.
Why didn't you squash that, dog? You should have squashed it. You guys are my boys, bro. And Paul Jones playing the sax. What was going on, bro?
He did in real
Tom
life.
Landry rap? Tom Landry rap.
They paid me. What can I do? Turn
All
it down?
right. No, never mind. I still love you. Forget it. It's all good.
That's great. That is so great. Hey, so I got to know, one of my favorite coaches, obviously, I grew up only on Jimmy Johnson, then Barry Switzer, then the smorgasbord that was. Yeah, and we always claim, when I was 8 years old, I was interviewed in Dallas, and they're asking me about Barry Switzer. I'm like, this guy's gonna win. We're gonna win 3 in a row. It's gonna be great. I'm in Dallas. I'm like I know anything. And then obviously we go off and win the Super Bowl '95, and that's all she wrote. But I gotta ask, one of my favorite coaches of all time and across the board was Bill Parcells, and you were able to coach alongside of him. And like I said, I don't know if this is something that the sore subject, or because Bill to me was the next coming of Jimmy with the no BS. No. All right.
Go ahead, get him, Jim.
Yeah, no, roast me. It's okay. I'm cool with it.
No,
how was that coaching?
You know what?
Bill?
It was sad because Bill was one of the he knew football now, and he understood football, but he had this part of that I don't know if he really liked people.
Oh,
yeah, and that was the thing. But he did. It was similar. You're right. He was some ways similar to Jimmy because he had his guys: Vinny Testaverde, Keyshawn Johnson, Terry Glenn, and there. But he was a different dude.
I think Terrell Owens kind of broke him, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
like you bring him on, and he's like,
he was. It seemed like he didn't enjoy winning and he didn't enjoy losing. Jimmy was different. He enjoyed winning and he wanted to win. And the things was, and he was going, he didn't want you to party too hard, obviously, when you didn't win. But he also wanted you to enjoy it because he said it was hard to win. Bill was miserable when we won. He was miserable when we lost.
Wow.
And that was just the way. And it wasn't, for coaches and players, it wasn't any fun because you couldn't win.
Oh, when you were coaching with the Cowboys, he was there?
Yeah.
Yes, at the end.
So when he switched to the 3-4, so you guys were 4-3 and he went to a 3-4 defense, right?
And that we were the number one defense in the NFL the year that
that's what I was telling you guys. With Zimmer, right?
Yeah, with Mike Zimmer. And then we had to switch our whole defense because he didn't want us playing. He wanted all different type of players to play the 3-4.
So it's all Bill's fault.
And we went down. No, I don't know if that's what he was comfortable with. And
right.
Just like I said, the head coach has that. He has to make that decision. And he wanted the 3-4. But we didn't have 3-4 players. We had brought in 4-3 players. And now we're trying to teach them something that is a little bit difficult. And we have to draft players to fit that scheme, and it's not going to happen overnight.
And I brought that up with like someone like Roy Williams, right? Wasn't he hard? He kind of was hard to adjust to the 3-4. No,
yes.
Like that's what I was trying to say because then he followed Zimmer to Cincinnati, who ran the 4-3. But I meant that whole I got you for sure.
Yeah, and that was it. Nobody ever questions Bill's intelligence, and he was a heck of a coach, but he wasn't. To me, he wasn't the type of person you want to be around.
Really? But Jimmy, so just because you already talked about the communication, and again, we've been it's such a puzzle for us because if our defense played at least 20% better, we'd probably have 4 more wins.
I agree.
How with these 2 draft picks coming up, we got 2 first rounders. Do you think we take linebackers? Do we take corners? I mean, what if you were to assess and fix this problem? We already got the communication down.
First of all, you got to see, they got the, and you make a good point, Brett. But first of all, we got to see with this defensive coordinator. Can he bring them together? Can he bring in the people? Because he let everybody's gone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Wickhotton just left, right?
First of all, he's got to bring them in, and he's got to have a plan. How are we going to do this, and how are we going to get this done? Because he's been under Vic Fangio, and like I said, I spent time with Vic Fangio. The guy is brilliant. I mean, he's old school, but he is really smart. And if he can bring the whole defense together, I mean, then you can win. And just like you said, you don't have to be super because you got a pretty good offense. You just have to be respectable, and you'll have a chance to win some games.
But we both think a big problem was our linebacking core this year. Do you think?
Let me ask you a question, Brett. If for the linebacking core, you look at the front because it all starts up front. Did you see how many times they were getting offensive linemen on them? And that doesn't mean you got to hold them up.
They were getting second level fast,
and they were getting off there. And guys are just running by. You can't do that.
But we
guys
also
are getting double scooped. I look at the whole thing. If your linebackers are getting beat up, Brett, then your defensive line is not playing very well.
But there was a lot of people out of position. It seemed like
That's why they're out of position. They're trying to say. I mean, think about it. Look at these offensive linemen today. A lot of them are 330, 340. You can't take those guys one-on-one. You're a D lineman, and they got some D line. They got to know that I got a position to put them in the position to help them, because it's hard enough tackling some of these running backs today.
Yeah,
and I'm not blaming it all on the D line, but I'm looking at it. These linebackers, they put them in a no-win situation.
Yeah, it's like it's the witching hour now in the Sturchio household. I got my own defensive line. Listen, my little man right now, he's 4, but you could tell he's got some tendencies where he's going to be able to rush the quarterback very soon.
It all works together. Take one thing, and I tell people this about the best thing that ever happened to the Cowboys, believe it or not, was Charles Haley. And the reason Charles Haley was the best thing is because he had been around Ronnie Lott, and he had been around guys like that, and he knew what it took to win. And you should have seen our meetings. Our meetings were great because he wasn't afraid to call you out, and he wasn't afraid for you to call him out. And that was the beauty of it. It made everybody in the room better because we were accountable to each other.
So would you say that he kind of was the missing piece to get into the Super Bowl?
Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yes,
all right. So I stand down. I'll be honest with you, Jim. I always felt that he brought not only his talent, but he brought that winning championship attitude that he's been through already to you guys.
Well, here's the thing. When we went out to the first Super Bowl, none of us had been to a Super Bowl. So we didn't know it. We were in Hollywood. I mean, we're in LA. Shoot, we're superstars now. Everybody's looking at us like we were the big thing in town.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the first practice and was just walking through it, sleepwalking. Charles called the whole team up and said, "This is BS." He said, "We'll get killed against Buffalo if we play like this." Every practice after this, it might have been the best practices we had all year. He got on the offense, he got on the defense. So you don't win Super Bowls like that.
That's awesome.
Nobody knew.
All right. Love it.
So, all right. So Charles Haley is obviously the missing piece in 92, 93, right? And going forward. All right. Without naming names, because, we don't want to put anybody on blast. Is that Charles Haley type on the current Dallas Cowboys roster right now?
No.
Okay.
No. He's a different dude now. He was crazy. You
heard
the story.
You read the book.
I know about Haley.
A different dude. But I tell you what, he loved to play football, and he always was the kind of guy we talk, say, "Hey man, you're better suited to play this guy." So we switch sides and we just do things to help each other. He didn't care who got it.
All right.
He didn't care who won or who got this.
It's just I always thought that you and Tolbert handled it pretty well. I thought you guys were doing an awesome job. And then when he came in, I was happy. But my whole thing was just, I didn't know if we actually truly needed him. That was my whole thing. That's all.
No, we needed
it. Kind of like you did. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we had a 3-man rotation, and it great because people had to adjust to the things that we brought. And then we had those inside guys. And I told in the preseason, I told Stephen Jones, I said, you don't build from the outside, you build from the inside. You better have you some horses because they take a beating in there. They take a beating.
I don't want to get off this yet because this has been an enigma for us for 2 years. All right. So you're saying the interior defensive linemen, that the linebackers are taking on. So where obviously I think we all agree the problem's in that front seven.
Yes.
We got good 2 defensive tackles in the trade, and I don't think we have a lot of depth because we also used to say last year and this year, but before the Micah trade, the A and B gaps, the interior, we were weak.
Exactly.
Right. And our middle linebackers seem to have not been producing like we thought.
Exactly. But they're getting hit every play.
Right.
Where do we? What do you think we should focus on more? More interior D linemen, get some linebackers, or is it just schematics? Is it the type of defense we're running?
Correcting the first thing you have to do is correct the schematics.
Okay.
Even with when we weren't very good, if you notice back in '89, we got better because we corrected the schematics. People understood. Then if you got talented players, they wouldn't be here if they weren't talented. We have to correct them and get them to understand that sometimes you won't be the focal point of it. You just play your responsibility. And if something comes, you make a play, but make sure you're in the right position to make that play. And that's the thing we got to do is correct that. And you don't yell and scream. You got to explain to them. And a lot of times you got to see what they're seeing and understand. And then if there's something that they're seeing that is not right, you got to correct it.
And I think what you said earlier too, bro, what he was saying is really stuck out is all the coaches being on the same page.
Exactly.
The
advantage is all those guys have been on with in Miami, and some of them been to Oklahoma State with them. Those things, that was the advantage. They knew. Yeah, and he knew what but you can't do that in the NFL, even with coaches today. So you got to get them in there and teach them what you want and how you want it.
Do you
go ahead.
Yeah. Do you like the idea that we went for the first time in what seems like forever, that they went a lot younger, like almost like unestablished, unproven defensive coordinator rather than the big name?
I like it. If he gets to bring in his own guys, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, they cleaned house. They let him interview and it seems like it's going to be a whole new.
He went to get the guy from Minnesota, the D-line coach, because they coached together. So he understood what he wanted. And then he went and got the linebacker coach from Philadelphia. Why? Because they understand what he's trying. You got to have people who understand what you accomplish and how. I mean, I've coached at the University of Colorado before Deion was there, and we won the Pac-12 South. We had this guy like Jim Levitt, who used to be at USF. And he was crazy as heck, but he understood how continuity works, and he had all of us were on the same page. And that's the thing. And you have to have a guy like that. He understood how to make all the parts work.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother, one of my best friends growing up, and a guy I played high school ball with is he just got the D-line job at Notre Dame, but he was with the Colts for a while. His name's Charlie Partridge. I don't know if you know him.
Yes. Charlie Partridge is a heck of a coach.
Yeah, I know. But I was praying that he would come to Dallas, but Notre Dame gave him more money.
It's hard to turn down Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It's the Dallas Cowboys of college football, basically. You know what I mean? They got their own network. That might be which works against them sometimes when it comes to playoff selections and stuff like that. Like, well, why don't you go try it at the SEC? Why don't you give yourself a shot? But listen, it has been an absolute honor to chat with you and catch up and talk nostalgia and talk current Cowboys and everything like that. We would love to obviously have you back before the season starts. before the season starts, maybe assess a little bit of the moves.
Sure.
Hopefully Jerry gets a little aggressive in free agency this year. Who knows? Yeah. But there's a lot of things to fix in Dallas, but obviously not when you were there.
They can be fixed. They can be it's a new year and they have to start, and everybody's got to be on the same page. They got to know what the agenda is and how to get to, obviously, to make that agenda work.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love the fact that you're able to carry on the 92, 93, Super Bowls and stuff like that, we need a little bit of an upgrade here. We need a new ring around here in Dallas.
As long as they keep my autograph session, I'm good.
Oh yeah, of course. Listen, I got a guy in Jersey. His name's Joe Covino. He does.
That's my guy, Jersey Joe.
Jersey Joe. That dude. I met him. Listen to me when I tell you. Yes, when I tell you, you go in my man cave here. There's a couple things, signed things here. Got a couple cool things around.
That's my
bro.
dude,
I went into his basement because I had to pick up a couple items. Dude, I've never seen the amount of autographs that this guy's got. He has got every under the sun. It could be the
I was with him a couple months ago.
He's great. He does all the signings. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Hey, so really quick, who you got winning the Super Bowl?
Seattle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle too.
Seattle.
Yeah.
And it's hard for New England, but Seattle's gonna win this thing.
Yeah, right, they're a well-oiled machine, and Keith pointed it out yesterday. I saw it the other day on NFL Network. He sent the text, and I was like, he's like, is that Jackson Smith-Njigba with a Dallas Cowboys tattoo on his arm? I said,
Cowboys tattoo right here.
Yeah, it is.
He's from Rockwall, which is just southeast of Dallas.
Wow.
And look, we got to watch the Marcus.
Wait, you don't know anything else. Christian Gonzalez is from the Colony, and they're going to be matched up against each other.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They played against each other as high school players.
Wow. Yeah, something to watch
That's
there.
so cool.
But yeah,
right,
man, listen, Mr. Jeffcoat, it has been an honor and a privilege.
Beyond.
And we thank you so much for coming on board. We are going to keep petitioning for you to get into that Ring of Honor as you so well deserved, and everybody knows that. That goes without saying. Over 100 career sacks. I mean, the list goes on and on as far as accolades. Stats don't lie, folks. And in this day and age, it's very hard to compile the way he did. So thank you so much. And,
Brett, I got to tell you, that's a nice little tattoo you got on with the blue on.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's him. That's Keith.
Oh yeah, no, that's
me. That's true.
That is a real life. So what I did was I created that graphic with us, but that is Keith now.
Okay.
But that is something that he decided to show on. What was it? Was it Inside the NFL? Were you on that?
No, that was Brett on Inside the NFL.
Okay.
You were on the side. So the night that you scored your second touchdown against the Giants, me and my brother were in the Meadowlands. We both had our face painted. So we're standing there, and this guy's like, "Hey, turn around," and he had a camera. So I turn around. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get my brother's attention." Meanwhile, they were all cursing at us. Our Giants.
Yeah, tell him what the fan said to me because I was arguing with everyone then. I had a big mouth. Remember what he said about Dad?
Yeah, well, yeah. So if you look at I'll get to that. So we're doing it. So then back then there wasn't 20,000 streaming services. There wasn't the internet. So we couldn't wait to watch Inside the NFL to see the highlights. And they opened with me going like this, and it said, Halloween came early for the New York Giants, and and it showed the highlights. Well, in that clip, there's a guy in a Lawrence Taylor jersey. So, just to abbreviate the story, me and my brother got the tickets, so we got dropped off at the stadium. So it's the 80s. Nobody gave a shit about parental supervision. And we're at a night game. So the guy is sitting there, he's arguing with us. And my brother had a mouth on him too. And we're going back and forth. And he goes, "Where's your father?" He goes, "I like, when he comes, I want to kick his ass because, his kids are Cowboy fans." And my brother goes, "Yo, my dad's dead," which is a true story. He's like, "My father died. He committed suicide." Sure. And the guy tried to make him feel bad or whatever, but in a banter. And the guy goes, "Yeah, he probably killed himself because his kids are Cowboy fans."
Oh, wow.
Keith was 9.
9 years old.
Scarred for life, ladies and gentlemen. Listen.
No, We were laughing. We were going.
We deserved it too. I mean,
Yeah. So listen, it has been an awesome episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and keep tabs on us throughout the offseason. We got the draft coming up, obviously, after the Super Bowl. We got free agency. And like I said, Mr. Jeffcoat, we would love to have you back on and just kind of shoot the shit and talk about the 2026 Dallas Cowboys as it comes.
I will. I'll
be here
look at some things
before you know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So thank you so much. And of course, for Dave Sturchio, Bret and Keith Ernst, and of course, the 2-time Super Bowl champion, Jim Jeffcoat. This has been another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Let's go, Cowboys. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?